everyone, it's Cindy and welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate having you here. So today's video is a replay of Feel Good Friday that took place on Friday the 2nd of February over on my Facebook page, which I'll put up here for you. I do a video every single Friday, except for the next 2 weeks because I'm going on holiday. But depending on when you're watching this, it won't make any difference. So just pretend I didn't say that. Yes, so the topic of this video is, well, it's coming up to Valentine's Day right now in my time now as I'm filming this. And so it's all about how you can show yourself some love this Valentine's Day. So if you want to find out more about that, then just keep watching. Hello, are we live? Hello everyone, it's Feel Good Friday and it's nearly Valentine's Day. So today we're talking about how you can show yourself some love. So last week, if you saw the video last week, it was about is self-love vital to your business? And spoiler alert, yes it is. And so today I'm going to be going a bit deeper into some of the things you can do to show yourself some love so that you can be, more successful and all that. But we'll get into that in a minute. So in case I haven't met you yet, my name is Cindy Davis. I am the Feel Good Coach and I work with mums who are juggling business and family and trying to create something that's going to help them to do a bit more with their family, maybe have more holidays and things like that, to be able to do all of that stuff with and pay for it themselves, because I know a lot of mums feel like they want to feel they're contributing to the family in a financial sense. So I help mums do that by coaching, asking powerful questions, using lots of other fiddly tools, which I've talked about in some of my other videos, and that all goes really well. So that's what I do. The aim of today's video is to share some ways that you can show yourself some love so that you don't have to wait for others to do it. Because the truth is, we don't need other people to show us love. If we want to feel loved, it's down to us to do the stuff that makes us feel loved. And there's a lot we can do, and we're going to get into that in a second. So I'm going to cover it in 3 parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about mirror work. You might have heard of this, you might not, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. Excuse the dog, we've got people arriving downstairs, so you're going to hear a bit of barking and talking probably. The beauty of live videos. In part 2, I'm going to be talking a little bit about cutting negative self-talk. Now, I'm not going to go into this in massive detail because I've got lots of other videos that address that and all the reasons why and everything like that. So I'm going to briefly touch on how to cut negative self-talk and why we need to do that. And then in the third part, I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you can treat yourself to make yourself feel appreciated and loved. So that's what we're going to do today. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you're watching on the replay, do give me a like or hit the heart button to let me know that you are enjoying what you're hearing. And if you're joining me live, also please do that all the way through the video and comment below. Let me know if you have any questions or stuff like that. So just because you're on the replay, if you're watching on the replay, doesn't mean you can't join in. So do please interact. I would love to come back and have a chat with you. So let's move on to part 1, mirror work. Now, if you've heard of this, I'll obviously be teaching you something you already know, but a lot of people haven't heard of it or not really in any detail. So mirror work, I came across it in a book by the late Louise Hay, and the book's called How to Heal Your Life. I think that's the correct title, but it's about healing your life anyway. And the book is all about how we can feel better and heal our bodies and heal old hurts, excuse me, and things like that ourselves. But we don't necessarily need outside forces to do that. There's a lot of stuff we can do to heal ourselves. And one of the exercises that she shares in that book is about working with mirrors. So it's a really simple thing to do. And the best thing if you're going to start approaching this exercise is to do it on a very regular basis. So every morning or every single time you go to the bathroom and you look in the mirror while you're washing your hands and all that. So it's a really simple tool. You go stand in front of the mirror or sit or whatever. You look at yourself in the mirror. You look into your eyes. And sometimes actually that can be quite awkward when you first start out. Just even looking into your eyes in the mirror can be awkward. So bear with it. Keep trying, keep doing it and practicing until you're ready to start talking to yourself. again with your self, with your soul, with your inner being, or whatever you want to call that you that makes you you. So connecting with yourself by looking into your eyes in the mirror. And then you want to talk to yourself in a loving way. You can say things like, I really love you. You're brilliant, you are. I know you're trying really hard. You're doing so well. And again, when you first start doing that, it's going to feel so awkward and weird, and you'll be kind of looking over your shoulder and making sure nobody's watching you and hoping that nobody's recording you. It's really awkward. So just be prepared for it to be awkward. That's normal, and it's not a reason to stop. So push through that awkward feeling and keep practicing saying loving things to yourself. And I talked a bit about some of the loving things we can say to ourselves in the previous video as an antidote to some of the things we normally say to ourselves, which aren't very nice. So that's it. It's really simple. You practice this on a regular basis, at least once a day, in the morning, after you've brushed your teeth. Perhaps could be your trigger time for doing it. It's good to have a thing that you do it after, because then you've got the trigger of, I do that and then I do my mirror work. Because if you say I'm going to do it at a certain time every day, you know, that gets pushed out the window sometimes because things change. Whereas if you're always going to brush your teeth every morning, unless there's something really major going on in your life. So brush your teeth, then do your mirror work. That's a really good way of making sure you integrate it into your day. It takes seconds. It's really not going to take any time out of your day. You have got no excuse not to do it. You already know it's going to be awkward, so just get past it and push through it and do it. And then my challenge to you, from my heart to you, is to do that every day for 30 days and see how you feel at the end of it. If you accept my challenge, do please, by all means, come back to me on whatever the date it would be in March and let me know how it went, because I promise you, you will definitely feel the difference. So how about that? That's part one, done and dusted. Really simple, really easy. Mirror work. So that's part one. Let's move on to part two, which is all about cutting negative self-talk. Now, as I said, I did cover a lot of this in the previous video from last week, which you will find in the, if you look on, click on videos on my Facebook page, they'll come up with some playlists. There's a playlist for Feel Good Friday. You will find all my Feel Good Friday videos in there. This one is number 31, would you believe? It's crazy. So you can just browse through there and have a look. But in the last video, I was talking about self-talk, because when we're not loving ourselves, we're often quite mean, and so it's kind of like our default position to be negative and looking out for things that are wrong and things that might go wrong, because our biology hasn't changed since we were, you know, running about in cloths, living in caves and all that kind of stuff. And then it was very important to be looking out for danger, looking out for what's the problem going to be, so that we can avoid it and so that we can stay alive. But nowadays, we don't really have to worry about staying alive most of the time, because we live very happy existences over here. You know, in my world, in the Western world, in a very prosperous country, I'm doing all right. You know, I'm not going to die if I if I drop a plate. But my biology can't tell the difference. It's like it's a default position to look for the negative, look for the thing that's going to go wrong. So the only way to really, that I know of, to get rid of that is, one, to sort of go down deep and clear out any beliefs that are causing that self-talk, which is something ideally done with a practitioner of some kind of discipline. And then, but the other way that's really easy to do for yourself is to just drown it out with positivity. So it's impossible to be mean to yourself if you're constantly saying, I love myself. It is pretty hard, isn't it? If you only, you know, every time you felt yourself being negative to yourself, which is pretty much a lot of the time, then just switch it around and say something positive to yourself a lot, and you'll drown it out. That you can't be holding two conflicting thoughts at the same time. You just can't. So that's a really good way of cutting out the negative self-talk. and it's a really good way of loving yourself. Now, you can say affirmations like I love myself, and they're great. And by all means, if you're used to doing that, then do please use those. But I happen to love something else called affirmations. And it's a slightly different way of doing it, where you change that statement into a question, an empowering question. So you'd say, instead of I love myself, you'd say, why do I love myself? Now, affirmations don't work for everyone, not everyone gets on with them, but I find them much more powerful for me than just doing straight up affirmations. If you want to find out about affirmations, there is a previous video, and I think it's called Affirmations Don't Work. So again, look in the playlist and you'll find it up there. Let's recap. We have a default of thinking negatively. We also have beliefs, which I've talked a lot about before as well. And if you look back through my videos, you'll find plenty of stuff about beliefs, limiting beliefs, which come from, early on in our life and then continue to affect us through the rest of our life. And all of that causes us to quite often be quite mean to ourselves when we're with that kind of inner dialogue that we're all constantly having. Even now, you're probably chatting away to yourself about whether you agree with what I'm saying, or going, yes, I can relate to that, or I remember the time when, or you might be planning a shopping list. But there is a constant sort of dialogue going on within us, and being aware of what that is and whether it's helpful to us or not, and then choosing to talk a different way is one of the most powerful and empowering things you can do in your life. And the easiest way to know if you've been talking negatively to yourself, thinking negative thoughts, is to check in with how you feel. If you feel a bit down or angry or fed up or guilty or any other flavour of negative emotion, just check in with yourself and see what you've been thinking. What have you been saying to yourself over the last few minutes or hours? And how have you got yourself into that state? Because it's the thoughts that you've been having that have led to you feeling that way. Now, it's not easy to go from down in the dumps to jumping up and down, squealing with happiness, but it is possible sometimes. But mainly, it's a case of that gradual talking yourself up. And the easiest way, like I said, is to drown out the negativity with positive self-talk. So I can see we've got a few live viewers on. Do please let me know how this is going down with you. Are you relating to what I'm talking about? Do you use affirmations already? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. And if you don't want to comment, just give me a like or a heart and let me know that this is making sense to you, because otherwise I'm just sat here in a room talking to myself, which wouldn't be the first time, but hey. Okay, so that's part 2 about cutting negative self-talk. So far we've talked about mirror work, where you're going to really connect with yourself and say lovely things to yourself face to face. And the second part, how to cut negative self-talk. I can see we've got a comment there. Oh, Carol, your husband needs to see this, does he? Well, the thing is with this stuff, you have to be ready for it. and everyone needs to see this. Everyone needs to know this stuff. Not everyone's ready for it. So by all means, share it with him and introduce him to it, and see where it goes. But we all need to sort of let people have their own path, whilst encouraging them to join us over here on the positive path. Yeah, lovely. Great to know that you want to share this with your husband. So let's move on to part 3, which is how to treat yourself. Now, sometimes we think treating ourselves has to mean an expensive day at the spa with girlfriends or something, and so then we don't do it. Hit the wow button if that is you. If you put off doing treats for yourself because you think it'll cost a lot of money or be really difficult to do. Because I know that for me, that is something that would hold me back in the past. I would think it had to be some big gesture that would be treating myself. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be a big gesture. Sometimes we get a bit stuck as well, thinking what we want to do for ourselves. So I work with my clients sometimes and I'll say, okay, so they'll come up with a couple of actions for their business or for whatever it is, their goal that they're working on. And then I'll say, okay, so let's have an action for you. and then they can't think of anything. They can't think of anything they want to do for themselves, which is bonkers, isn't it, when you think about it? Because we should be our own best friends. And so this stuff I'm going to talk about isn't rocket science. It's just stuff that we kind of we benefit from doing for ourselves, but a lot of the time we don't. So let me know down in the comments any things that you do to treat yourself, by the way. So when I've gone through what I'm talking about, I can share and talk about whatever you do, because it's great to get other input about this stuff. It's great to do that. So treating yourself, the easiest way is to think about, how would I treat my best friend? So think about your best friend, whoever he or she is, and what would you do to treat them? So there might be men watching this on the replay, and you might think, oh well, I don't want to go to a spa or paint my nails or whatever, and that's fine. Or if you do that, if that's your bag, that's fine too. But there will be something that you can do to treat yourself. So how would you treat your best friend? So your friend needed cheering up. What would you do for them? What little thing would you do for them? You might just go and sit and talk to them and tell them some jokes, or tell them stories about funny things that have happened to you. You might take them a bunch of flowers. You might buy them some chocolates or something else that they like. And again, these are all things that you would probably then spend some time with that person too. You might cook them a lovely meal. So it doesn't have to be going out somewhere. You don't have to spend money in particular. It could be about cooking a nice meal, laying at the table really nicely, putting all the glasses and everything all beautifully laid out on the table, making it a really special event, running them a lovely bubble bath, shoving in their favourite bath bomb, adding in some lovely essential oils that they like, making sure it's all nice with some candles lit, and making sure that there's not going to be any interruptions so they can have a nice relaxing bath. How about telling them something that you like about them or that you love about them? Really complimenting that person is another thing we might do for our friend, but we might not do for ourselves. How about just saying thank you to them for being there? We would often say that to our friends. How about to ourselves? So again, let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas to add to that list for treats that you can do for yourself. But as you can see, it doesn't have to be expensive. So Valentine's Day is, what is it? It's an arbitrary day that somebody chose based on a saint or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's just a day that humans chose out of the year to call Valentine's Day. And it has become something about romance and every 4 years, women proposing to men, which I think is mad, because why can't women propose to men all year round? Anyway, so it's just an arbitrary day. So bonus number 4 point, I normally only do 3, bonus number 4, do this stuff all year round, not just for Valentine's Day. Why not love yourself all year round? It doesn't have to be just on Valentine's Day. And equally, why not be the same with your partner all year round, or your best friend all year round? Love is a resource that we all have. It doesn't cost a penny, and we can share it. And the more we share it, the more we get back, and the better it feels. And I'm getting all emotional because it's just so lovely. And I love sharing love. So there we are. We have covered all of that stuff in just under 20 minutes. We're doing well for time. So we talked about mirror work in the first part, about Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, connecting with yourself, talking to yourself in a really loving, supportive way in the mirror, no matter how awkward it is, doing it for 30 days. Absolutely powerful. Part 2, we talked about cutting negative talk, self-talk, and stopping it, drowning it out with positive self-talk, being nice to ourselves, affirmations or afformations, whatever you prefer, what works for you, and just basically overriding that negative default pattern that we all have. And my voice is going. I'm so excited. In part 3, I talked about very briefly how to treat ourselves. There are so many different ways. You will have lots of ideas of your own. Hopefully they'll get shared in the comments and we can all learn from each other. There are different ways to treat ourselves. I quite like to sit down and paint my nails. That's a little treat for me. I enjoy doing it. It takes a bit of time, but it makes me happy to look at my nails when they're done. By the way, they're not done at the moment, but that's fine. It's just little things like that, just time for yourself, just giving yourself some love, appreciating yourself for who you are and not expecting things to change first and not relying on other people to do it for you. So there we have it. And in the bonus number 4 point, I talked about how to do that. We need to do this all year round because Valentine's Day is just a day someone chose and we can do it every day of the year. So let's move on to the summary. Well, that is the summary. Let's move on to the aim. What I wanted to do was share some ways with you that you can show yourself some love so you don't have to wait for others and you can feel loved all year round as much as you want. Hopefully I've achieved that. And the call to action today is to do the things I've said, the 30-day challenge with the mirror work, drown out that negative self-talk, just with that constant positivity. Find ways to treat yourself, get creative, make sure you do it by putting it in your diary. That's a really good way of doing it. And that's it. If you've enjoyed this video, do please give it a like or a heart. I would love to see that coming through so I know that you've enjoyed it. If you have any comments, of course, put them down there. And if you want to see more of my videos, then do please like my page so you get all the notifications and head over to the playlist, as I said, look for Feel Good Friday and you can scroll through all my videos and pick some that suit you. So it just remains for me to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me live, those who have, and thank you for watching on the replay. I really appreciate having you here too. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you're going to do all the things I suggested all year round. Show yourself some love and you deserve it. So get on and do it. Don't wait for other people. Buy yourself some flowers today. So look out for the next video. Check out some of my other videos while you're here. If it is your first time here, if you have liked what you're watching, do please subscribe to make sure you get my videos. And also if you click the little notification bell, YouTube will very helpfully tell you when I upload. And if you did like this video, do please give it a thumbs up so that I know, and also so that YouTube can make sure that more people see it. So that's it for today. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for watching and have a fabulous day, and I'll speak to you in the next video.